Hey there, everybody. Robert Taylor with Escape Creations. We're going to go ahead and now go over attribute definitions. Um, Now, attribute definitions are what give your attributes all of the power um, that every video game has. And before we touch on the attribute definition itself, I want to make sure that we add the ones that I've already made so that we can make sure that you guys are able to follow along with the series. So if we come in here into attributes, I just go ahead and do this. I highlighted everything from defensive down to vital. That way I can grab all of these at once, drag them in here. There we go. We're good to go. Everything is there. Everything is ready. And we can technically just open these up and explain all of them. However, we are going to create a new one because that is how I want to make sure that you guys understand. So I'm going to do it in my content folder. Right click, create a new folder, and I'll call this WC Gas Ally. And that's where I'll put everything for the plugin. New folder, attributes. New folder, primary. Now, this is how I've chosen to separate my attributes. You are going to, once you understand the system, want to set up your attributes how you want them. And now we're going to come down here to the gas ally section, attributes, attribute definition. And I just keep it DA for data asset because it really doesn't matter to me. Intelligence. Now let's go ahead and open it up. And you are going to see a bunch of stuff here. And I know it's overwhelming, and it's going to stay overwhelming for a little bit, but I promise you it gets a lot easier. We go ahead and change this 1.25, make things a bit bigger for us. So, in this episode, we are going to be going over these first two sections right here. Identity and values. So, obviously, we need an attribute name. If you mouse over everything, it'll give you very detailed information for everything. And I mean everything. So don't worry about having to figure these things out by or remembering these things. But for the attribute name, we're going to go with intelligence. You'll see it automatically populates the display name for you. Now, how are these two different? Well, the attribute name can have no spaces. You can use an underscore if you want, but that is the only special character I would recommend using for the attribute name. The next thing we're going to want to do, and the reason for that is so say max mana. You'll want to put the space in between max and mana here for the display because this is what the UI will see. This is what you use for your UI. All right, now we want to create the attribute tag. I'm going to go ahead and, because after this series is done, I'll add intelligence to my plugin. I'm going to come to the gameplay tags data table that I have here. And I'm going to find the primary, duplicate for myself, and make intelligence. Save it. Close. Now if I come in here, I can go to primary, and there is intelligence. Now then, use external attribute set. Has a lot there. This is for those who are using plugins like the game, not the gameplay, like Narrative Pro, Ninja Combat, Ascent Combat Framework, and its ultimate counterpart, or any others that already have a basic attribute set. Because there's a lot here. I turn this on, you'll see that metadata is grayed out. These are fine. There's a few things that are grayed out. There's a few things that you won't be able to utilize properly unless you do a few things, which is why it has external support added to C++. We will go over this in the last episode. I'll show you how to do that. Last episode of the attributes. At which point you can then come in here and choose one. Now, obviously, this is right now showing ours. You'll know it's ours because it's showing as a gameplay tag. If it's someone else's, it'll just show what it's called, whether it's armor, defense, stamina, whatever. And then you will select it. And if you have this checked, then you'll be able to use everything in the data in this definition with that attribute set. Let's go ahead and turn that, at which point you'll turn this on. And as you can see now, this is available. If I turn that off, you'll also see clamping becomes available, which again is very important. But these things are done in the attribute set, which is purely C++. There's absolutely no way around that. I have, however, made it to where you just have to add 4 lines of code. Well, technically, 1 line of code in one file, and if you for Ascent Combat Framework, he has like 3 or 4 attribute sets, so you need to add 3 lines of code in each of those. So, very simple, very easy. We'll go over it later. Let's go ahead and turn these off. Then the description. This is a tooltip description that you use for the UI, so you can explain everything how you want. Attribute GUID, we use this to save, because yes, you can save and load this stuff. I have hooks in there within my system to allow you to attach all of this information to any save system as long as you call the correct functions. That also goes for loading. Excuse me. And then we have the values. Default base value. It defaults to 100. For how I have things set up, I'm going to set it at 1. Because I strongly use the attribute modification section, which we'll be going over in a future video. For anything that's primary, I make sure that it's set at 1. For everything else, it depends what it's for. Excuse me. Because, and we'll dive deeper into that when we get into clamping, max health, and then you also have the meta attributes, and you have defaults for other things. Some of it will start at 0. It all really depends on how you design your system. So that's everything we're going over in this episode. In the next one, we will hit on meta attributes. Thank you so much for watching.